Hey friends, today I'll be showing you my favorite app for music practice as well as teaching, second only to the metronome, I guess. If you're any kind of a musician, whether it be a drummer, guitarist, singer, or something else, this is probably still going to be a useful app for you. It's called Music Speed Changer, and the best part is it's completely free. This app was designed with musicians in mind, and its two core functions are basically to change the speed of a song, which is very useful to slow down a song for practice, and you can also loop sections of a song, which again is really useful when you're trying to work on a specific section of music. There are many other apps that do this. This is just my personal favorite. But the great thing about Music Speed Changer is it also functions as a Chrome extension, which means that you can actually slow down and loop sections of a YouTube video. Honestly, I pretty much learned how to play the drums from YouTube. And back in the day, YouTube didn't even have the kind of slowdown settings that it does now. If you click on the gear icon down below, you can select 75% or 50% speed. Back in the day, you would have to rip the whole video off YouTube, open it in something like VLC Media Player, and then slow it down from there, and it was such a tedious process, and the frame rate would be really choppy, and yeah, it's troublesome. With the Music Speed Changer extension, I can do that without even having to close the browser window, which is great. The other thing that it's really useful for is probably not applicable so much to drummers, but if you play any other instrument or you're a singer, it can be useful to change the pitch of a song that you're trying to practice, whether it be to suit your vocal range, or maybe your band is just playing a song in a different key, or the song is down-tuned and you don't want to detune your guitar to do something that's in a drop tuning. So being able to change the pitch of the song on the fly can also be really useful. This is not a new app by any means. It's been out for a couple years, but they just recently introduced a new update that has a couple additional features that are really useful for musicians. And I recently realized that it's available not only as an Android app, which is the fully featured app, but it's also available as a web app, which means you can use it on the desktop or any other device that has a browser. And of course, as I mentioned, it's available as a Chrome extension. I have not tested this on any iOS devices because I don't use Apple products myself at the moment. But if you do use it on an iPad or an iPhone, let me know how that works out for you. But generally for iOS users, I would recommend Amazing Slowdowner, which has the same features, but it can also connect directly to your Spotify account, so you can slow down, loop, or change the pitch of songs off Spotify without even having to download the tracks, which is really convenient, but it's also a paid app, so just leave that there for you iOS users. I will show you how this app looks on an Android phone, and then I'll quickly show you how to install it as a web app on your desktop, as well as in Chrome as an extension. So let's have a look at the phone version. I'm just going to put it right over here so you can follow along with me. And opening the Play Store, look up Music Speed Changer, look for this blue icon. It's created by Single Minded Productions. So you can see they're pretty up to date on updates. Did I just say that? As you can see, they're pretty recent on their updates. It was just updated yesterday, actually. So let's have a look at this app version. When you open it up, you won't see the song loaded yet, but because I've already used this, I have a song loaded here. But it'll go straight to your library, which shows you all the songs that you have stored on your phone. And you will need to download these tracks as MP3 files to be able to load them, but they'll come up automatically. And the good part about this is it actually allows you to search for the songs, which makes it so much easier to find. And if you have them sorted in albums, it will show you the album art, your track listing, and when you press a song, it automatically starts playing. It will seem to not load, but actually you just need to press the blue bar at the bottom and it just expands your entire view. So now we have the main functions of this: pitch changing, tempo, loop, and you can see the whole waveform of the track below. So again, I'll just show you what the pitch would do. This can make it higher, lower. Yeah, it's a bit silly. I would recommend actually keying it in, so if you want to increase it by one semitone, it goes up just exactly one semitone. Press the little cycling refresh icon on the right to reset it. And the more useful one would be to change the tempo. You can slow it down. the loop function, just press A where you want to start your loop and B where you want to end your loop, and now that little section will keep repeating. So press the X to clear it, and for a lot of you, and for myself actually, that's pretty much what is necessary for use 90-something% of the time. Occasionally, there are a couple other cool features that you can use, which you find in the settings menu on the upper right. Press those 3 dots and then go to editor components. Now, there's a whole lot of other features that I won't be going into here. You can actually check it out on the Music Speed Changers official tutorial kind of video, but I'm just going through the things that I personally find useful as a musician for learning and practicing songs. So if you go to editor components, you can switch to this key and BPM function, and what that does is it detects the key of the song as well as the beats per minute, the speed of the song. And this is super useful. I think the key is really useful, especially for vocalists, because I've worked with a lot of singers who might not play an instrument. They just sing and they might not really know how to tell the band what their preferred key is. So if you use this app, it's going to automatically detect for you the key of the song. You can change the pitch. If it's too low for you, bring it up 2 semitones, and then it will automatically tell you that the key that you're now singing in, that has been pitched up by 2 semitones, is a G flat minor. And you can tell that to your band so that they know what key to play in that you're comfortable with singing. For practice of music, I think for drummers and any other instrumentalists, it's useful to see what BPM you're at so that you know what tempo you're actually practicing, because you might be slowing down as a percentage of the song, but you don't know what actual speed you're at. So maybe if your hands hit a limit at 75% speed of this song for 16th notes, at least you know that, okay, my 16 notes are maxing out at 86 BPM. And I need to work on that with a metronome. I can do other drills aside from the song at that exact speed. So these 2 functions are super useful. The other useful one is markers. And this I find handy when you're learning a longer or more complex song in detail. You can actually just press that little plus to add markers into your track. And these can be anything. So I could use this marker to tell me maybe what the verse is. So I can actually rename the marker. Just press edit and you can give it a name. Let's say this is the verse and this is chorus or pre-chorus. And this is the chorus. So I can keep track of all these points in my song, and I can quickly skip to them by pressing these arrows to jump to a different marker. And you can set your loop points to the markers a lot easier and loop whatever section you want. And the best part about this is I can load up a different song, this is another track, and come back to that first song, and my markers are all still there. So I would use this either for navigating your song sections easily, or to just highlight to yourself certain points that maybe you need to practice a bit more on. There could be a little complicated fill somewhere down here. Maybe I just want to put a marker at this section and tell myself that I want to practice this a little bit more so that the next time I come back for a practice session and I open up this song, I can see these points that I need to focus on instead of just jamming the whole track through. And yeah, so this is the markers menu, and to get rid of them, you just double tap clear all and you're good to go. One more sort of worthy of mention would be the equalizer. I don't actually use this a lot, but back when I was first learning to transcribe, sometimes I wasn't sure how to differentiate the sound of different parts of the drums, or if I was trying to hear like a bass guitar line. You can use the equalizer to change different frequencies in the music. So let me just put this to normal first, and then I will first boost the bass, and then I'll boost the treble and see if you can hear the difference and which instruments are highlighted. So this is normal. Then I'll boost a bit of bass. Cut the treble. Reset. Now you're cutting the bass. a little bit subtle, but you can hear that when you boost the trebles, the snares and cymbals come out a bit more, as well as the vocals. When you boost the bass, you get a bit more of the kick and the bass guitar kind of parts. So you can't really isolate a particular instrument, but it can be helpful to just differentiate the lower and higher sounds. Occasionally, that can be useful when you're trying to figure out a part, but honestly, nowadays, I don't really use that. It could be also useful if you're trying to compensate for earphones that maybe don't have enough bass or don't have enough treble. Whichever the case is, that is also a possibility. So finally, the last thing you can do is to configure a custom setting for this app and just basically pick all the things that you find useful, which for me is the first 5, the pitch and tempo, key, BPM, loop, and markers. If I do that, I will have all of these on the screen, and I can use that with any track I'm doing and basically just use that to practice. So that is the phone app. Now let's have a look at the web app. Music Speed Changer actually has really good instructions for how to install their web app, so I'm not going to go through that in great detail, but basically you can use either Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome and look up this website, app.musicspeedchanger.com. So let me just show you in Chrome over here. What I would do is press these 3 dots and then just press Install Music Speed Changer, and that's it. What this gives you is the entire app as something that you can open on your desktop. It will be added to your start menu, or you can pin it to the taskbar like I did over here. And then you can load up your files and change the tempo, pitch, and set your loop points. This basically acts as the basic version of the phone app. You realize that there isn't the additional editor settings, but for most things, this is still pretty much all you need. So I use this when I'm practicing and I want the sound to be coming out of my desktop speakers, or if I'm transcribing a song and I'm working on the PC, it's just nice to be able to use the same device. The other thing that I find more useful is using it as a Chrome extension, which you can find on the Chrome web store. Just search for Music Speed Changer and look for this blue icon. Over here, it will say Add to Chrome. So you click on that, add it as an extension, and you will see this little blue thing pop up in your taskbar in the upper right. So if I'm watching a YouTube video, for example, I can play this, and I can click on this one here and slow it down without even having to download the track at all. You can even set loop points on the YouTube video, so if there was something interesting going on here, could slow it down, and maybe I couldn't catch what was going on, I can just set this to loop. No hands. That just looped. So this makes it really convenient for practicing a certain part that you can't figure out and you just want to get down, or you've already figured it out but you need to play it, 100 more times so that your brain understands what your limbs are trying to execute. This extension works with any tab that is playing audio, not just YouTube, but personally I find the most use of it on YouTube because that's where you'll find a lot of, say, tutorial videos. And if there's a song you're trying to learn, maybe it has tabs or notation on the screen, but it might be a bit too fast for you to follow. You can always use this to slow it down to just the right amount so that it's at an appropriate speed for you. You can do that in YouTube, but only being able to go to 75% or 50% is usually a bit too rough of an adjustment to really be practical. So this way you can adjust it to exactly your comfortable level and slowly work it up from there until you can play the song at the correct speed. That's about all I have to say about this app actually. I think it's quite straightforward once you get it, and all I want to tell you guys is install this on your phone if you have an Android phone, and check it out on Chrome as an extension if you use that. Again, there are many alternatives to this. Do whatever you feel is the easiest and most comfortable for you. But I firmly believe in making practice as easy as possible. If you're really, really motivated, you're going to make it happen no matter what. But I think, realistically speaking, a lot of us have other life priorities. And if you have to jump through a couple hoops to be able to practice and learn something, we tend to be a bit lazy and not want to do it. So I always believe in simplifying that process as much as you can. Just a little bit of ease of use can go a long way in making you feel like wanting to learn a song or wanting to practice. And it's so much easier to do that on a regular basis, and you'll be able to get better a lot faster. I hope this tip helps you in your practice. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you next time. I hope that recorded, man.